Are we live?
It'll be 2 seconds. We are live, everybody. We were having a few technical issues. That's why you people in Australia are shitting your pants right now that we're 7 minutes late. We understand.
I feel bad. I know that they have
following there.
lemon onions all ready to go.
But the KNL effect is in effect. We just took a little bit longer tonight. And so we're here. We are live.
Welcome.
And we are alive and kicking. That's a song. I know that was a really
live and kicking.
Yes, alive and kicking. And so,
who sings it?
The what?
Who sings it?
Simple Minds.
Isn't that from like the 80s?
I love the 80s. Sorry, I was looking to see if anybody's live. If you're out there, please make yourself known.
Yeah. Say where you're from. We'd love to hear what country you're from.
Scream. I mean, just make it known that you know what, you are here and that you are beautiful and that you are alive this evening with us. And I know you don't know the topic, Lauren, that I have for us this evening.
You've been a little, what's the word? Sneaky, like a little like scary.
Oh, not sneaky. No, this you're gonna love this topic.
Okay. I trust you.
Yeah, I mean, you love every topic. We love every topic. It doesn't matter what it is. We find joy in speaking about it and sharing our perspective and point of view with you out there. And so I thought what was an interesting topic to bring up today, because I find it to be so relevant in so many ways, and even like societally speaking and culturally speaking, in terms of where we are right now as a country. And I'm not making it political, but it's a phenomenon that I think deserves more conversation. And so the concept that I wanted to throw out there was, you know, the juxtaposition of judgment and beauty. And why is it, right? Why is it that we are so quick to judge other people in general? Like,
it's human nature. I mean, I don't think that means that we're judgmental. I think somehow, somewhere in there, we're just like wired to it. And maybe it's not, you know, the word judgment carries such a
judging, no, but judging normally, you can't judge someone, right? If you're judging someone, you're innately judging them. There's some sort of you're making some observation about somebody that either reinforces, right, your existing belief system, or usually when someone's judging someone else, I find that they are perhaps not seeing the full person. That's what I'm saying. They don't see the full person. It's kind of like, right? I mean, I know this is the old adage and we hear it all the time, right? Don't judge a book by its cover.
See, I have a little bit, I want to pick at that because.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
I think, well, here's the deal. I think in moving away from the idea of judgment, I think the word judgment carries the connotation of judgmental versus judgment, judge, to view something and have an opinion. And that doesn't have to be negative. I mean, we use our judgment every single day to decide, to make choices all the time. I mean, that's what we do. I think to be judgmental is very different than judging.
I personally think that when you are making any kind of, when you're judging anything, you're still, it has to be weighted against something. If I am judging you in the moment, I'm judging you, which means that I am connecting and attaching to something that or otherwise I would have no judgment. Otherwise it would be the absence of judgment, which I guess that's my whole point is, what is the cost? What is the cost of judging each other? Is there a cost? Is there I'm talking like on a humanitarian, societal type of basis. What cost is there, right, from judging people?
I have to sit with that one because, I mean, I agree. I believe that people are judgmental in that general way. I have been judgmental. I can't even say I haven't. Like, I'm trying to take this road that probably doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
I'm with you too, Lauren. Like it's human nature and everybody does it. But I guess where my heart is and why I love this topic so much for me is the power of what I want to do in my role here. I feel in terms of just like my greater role here is to help, I think, people try to build better, more of an understanding of like why there's judgment, and judgment, you're right, typically has, I think, negative connotations. And I do like what you were saying, that perhaps judging isn't necessarily positive or negative, but I think when you bring up the word judgment, it's like choosing a side, because otherwise you wouldn't be judging. And so how can we judge each other less? Maybe that's how can we learn to judge each other less?
Maybe the idea is, I'm very much right now into accepting my wholeness, meaning all of the parts that I would consider positive in light, and the parts of me that I would consider areas that I need to work on, my dark sides. Someone I've been following calls them our shadows. And I think that what you're saying is to accept all of those parts of who we are without judgment of good or bad, is to create the awareness around when we're stepping into judgmental to put someone in a place as good or bad versus everything. I mean, if you're going to judge, have the awareness to say, who am I to judge? And what is it that I'm judging? Maybe I need to release the energy behind that.
Okay, I think that's fair. I think I agree. Like, I think any type of when we are judging, and we do this, we all do this, I do this. When we judge in a way, we are already assigning. I feel like judgment is a way of us displacing on someone else our own assumptions or misbeliefs or interpretations. It doesn't matter, but that's where judgment comes from. Because what would a relationship look like for you? What if we all walked around with the absence of judging?
Well, I could tell you, if I wasn't, I'm going to put myself out there, judging my husband and what he does, or judging my children. I mean, we do judge. I would likely not be filled with conflicting feelings. I would be more accepting. So maybe, again, I think it goes back to being aware of when we are judging and seeing how the judgment is influencing how we show up. Like, I can see where I'm judging, but then look at that and say, that's not a whole picture. That's a piece. And again, what I've heard, and I got to see that, I would like to see somebody track that back, that when we judge, when we look at somebody and we see something in them that we don't like, that bothers us,
right.
It's again, usually a reflection of something inside of us that we don't like.
And I agree with you. And so that's why I think this topic is so relevant and so important, is because I feel that, especially in American culture today, I feel like there is a heightened sense of judgment. And of course, if you turn on any news station, it doesn't matter whether you are left or right. That's not important to me. And at this point, there is judgment on both sides. People are always making judgments of who you are because of who you vote for. And I think a lot of times, again, that the danger here, I guess the danger that I see is that we are not, the cost to us, or that this is the cost I see, is that we don't really allow ourselves to see someone fully and completely beyond some small piece of judgment.
That judgment. Yeah.
That judgment. And I feel like, so how many opportunities are we missing out on every single day of our lives to connect probably with people who are so much more than that maybe have some beautiful aspect of themselves that we never get a chance to discover because we've already made a judgment.
So it's really interesting that you're saying that, because when you have a disagreement with somebody, you decide somebody's wrong, and it carries a judgment. You're wrong.
Right, and I'm right.
You're wrong, I'm right. I have these feelings around that, whether I'm angry, hurt, sad. And the truth is, you get caught in that one space when you make that judgment, and you miss the whole backstory and everything else that goes with it. So those filters that we have from our past that kind of shape the what it is that we see and filter, I definitely think cloud our vision and create more judgments that even aren't accurate. They're just based on our smudged filters. And they're like, and actually, now that you're saying that, like, who says what's right or wrong? Like, I judge it. I don't like it. Who said it's right? Who said I'm right? But I guess
I agree with, I mean, that's my whole point here is I guess I would fight every day. And we all have opportunities within ourselves to judge less, is first of all, is what I would say but judging less means that each of us has a responsibility to understand what is it that we're judging about ourselves in the process, because I think that's where it originates. That's where judgment originates, is something that is really internal to us. And so, I mean, I guess that, for me, it's so important. It's such a hot topic for me, and it's been coming up a lot. And that's why I thought we could discuss this, is, what can we do? I feel like, what can individuals do to at least start to see the human, like the humanity of someone else, and not just that small piece that we're judging, which doesn't mean that that's the whole person, but we already attach by judging them, right? We say, oh, so-and-so is this. And then it becomes this, like, this ripple effect that they're this. I mean, it's like a whole, and I do feel that I honestly think, Lauren, like, this is the danger in the path that we're on, is I really think that we need to learn how to see that humanity in one another more. And I know it sounds very lofty perhaps, but not to me. It's a part of my soul.
I think that everything begins with awareness. And so if you're not aware of where you're judging, you're going to continue. If it's a concern to you and something that you want to bring to the table, then that's great. So if it's okay, could I engage you in a question?
Mm-hmm.
Since you're the one who
this makes me emotional. I'm just telling you, it brings up a lot to me. And I think it's because, there's an essence of, I was judged at a young age, and I understand what that means to be judged. And so I'm very hypersensitive to it. But I also I feel like it's also something that is a real issue that we as Americans need to start to look at, because it's tearing. I get the sense that now more than ever, there's a greater opportunity for us to reach out and start to understand people more than what we sometimes are allowing ourselves, because we're so quick to judge.
I agree. I think that we're just on this rampage right now of looking at everybody and throwing judgments. The world is just, and I think that social media allows for that, enables that, cultivates that. And I think that we have to be careful of our judgments and the words that we use. And, you know, every opportunity to pull back and create the awareness for ourselves. Tell me a time recently when you found yourself being judgmental.
Do I have to share like all the specifics?
Not all the specifics, but some good stuff so that we can get the details.
Okay, I do have one.
Sorry, I was
There's
just
probably
texting.
wait, okay.
I want you to know I
here.
wasn't, yeah, I was just texting them.
There's a lot here, and so I don't want to make this a coaching session, but we could make this a future coaching session. For me is, you know, I didn't share with you. I was recently invited to be a part of a mastermind with a group of other gay men.
Okay.
And there's a part of me that was probably a bit hesitant in joining because I was already judging what that potentially could look like given the people that were actually going to be joining, their backgrounds, their experiences. But I'm being open. I will say that it's not that I've like said no or anything like that. But I initially, my thoughts went to, you know, what is it really that I'm going to get out of this? You know, is this the right group of people to be a part of a mastermind in terms of where I'm at in my journey and what my needs are and wants are as a coach and my coaching practice? And so I was judging. I would say that I was judging the value of that almost. The value, I wouldn't say I was judging like individuals, like in a very like, oh, so and so is this, or no, I was judging, I guess I was judging more like, what value am I really going to get out of this? So,
And at what point did you realize that you were judging?
oh, immediately, because I'm pretty sensitive to it, the idea, the concept. And so it was almost immediately that I started to do like that kind of self-coaching in a way with myself to be like, well, what's really going on here? Like, why is it that you wouldn't want to be a part of this mastermind and participate? And so, I mean, I will say, I'm putting it out, I am going to participate in this mastermind, but I did start self-coaching to say, like, what's really going on here? Like, why is it that you have a hesitation, or what is it that, you know, is stopping you?
What was it? Because the judgment, there's something behind it. So it's the thing behind the thing. Where was your judgment coming from?
I think that, you know what, I probably wasn't going to get a lot out of it.
So you made an assumption.
Yes.
I mean, it's understandable. We do that, you know, especially when you've had those experiences in the past. It makes sense that you would be hesitant and say, been there, done that. But I think it's great that you caught yourself and that you could coach yourself around that. And now that, when does it start? So I can
actually, I think it's going to start within probably like the next, well, it's a group of individuals who are across various time zones. So from Australia to Canada to, like, there's some individuals from Toronto, an individual from New Zealand. So, and I think a person from Denmark. So yeah, it's a very global, I'd say, community. And I am excited. But yeah, I mean, when you say judging, we all do it. And but I guess that's the point is, so what was that judgment? Maybe something about what my own value was or is?
Yes.
I don't know.
It's okay. So you decided to do it. What you caught yourself, and what did you decide the truth was?
That this presents an opportunity for me to learn, potentially to make new connections, to grow. I mean, there's a whole host of things that in the end I was like, well, you know what, I'm going to do this, because I think there's, for me, it's kind of there's more to be gained perhaps than to be lost. Like if you had to look at it that way, but it was more about just go with this experience and let it unfold and see what happens. Enjoy it.
So it's exactly what you said. The judgment stopped you, and it was this big, and it almost got in the way of you enjoying this incredible global experience. And then had you followed your judgment, you would have missed out on the greater beauty, which is what you brought to the table. And so you caught yourself, which again is where it begins. If you don't have the awareness, here's what's really interesting. My daughter is a clinical mental health counselor, and we often have topics that come up. And I think one of them in her studies has been internal biases, and being able to identify. The truth is, we're all biased, but to be able to identify where those parts of us exist. Because if you don't, then they run amok. So what you have to be aware of what they are and then how they show up. But so I think that you're right, that piece of getting stuck in that one little bit and you missed all the rest of the big, beautiful picture. I'm glad you caught yourself.
But what about yourself? How would you think about maybe a situation where you were
I'm
already...
not judgmental. I'm not judgmental. Actually,
put it out there.
Oh gosh, I don't know if this falls under judgmental. I got into a disagreement with a family member.
But were you judging?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Right.
Yes, because I think I summed the person up and said, bitch. Sorry. Like I just got, and as you're saying that, in that judgment that I made of that person, of that moment, I missed out on the beauty of all of the other components of who that person is inside of that one piece, that flaw. And I'm very much about this. I've told my children, everybody comes to a relationship with their shtick, with their shit, like everybody's got it. So don't sit and think that that yours doesn't smell. You bring your own to the table. And so be gracious and be accepting of what it is you think you see in somebody, because they're more than that.
But I think that, right, that's the challenge, is you have to be able to see it in yourself before you can recognize it, I think, in someone else. And I guess that's what I would say is, I think right now it's coming to me and it seems like it's so obvious, but it sometimes isn't obvious. But how many people, right, really are probably judging themselves so harshly every single day of their lives?
Self-judgment is completely another topic. That's horrific.
But I think it relates to judging others. That's what I'm saying. If you could judge, your self-judgment, I think, is directly related to the amount of judgment that you have towards others externally to you. Because if you had no judgment about who you were, right, wrong, bad, good, which is a very again, dangerous place to be too, to think in very black or white terms. If you were able to release that from yourself and just get to a place where you're like, this is me, this is who I am, with no judgment, then I think that allows you a space to be able to see and view others with no judgment as well. Makes sense?
100%. I think that, I think that that's something we should aspire to and see. And just maybe because we do judge, is when those moments arise, not self-judge and, think that it's bad that we're judging. What if we just accepted the fact that we judge and then hear what we judge, but don't judge what we judge and release that? It's kind of like.
But how can you just release it? I think we've got, we're onto something. I mean, Lauren, I think we're onto something here. And I think that if we could come up with the judgment, I mean, we're heading into the high holidays, it's a new year. How can you judge yourself less so that in turn you judge others less? I mean, wouldn't that create a world? I mean, I know I'm thinking so grandiose, but that's just me. If we lived in a world where there was less judgment, what would be possible? What would
the opposite of judgment? Acceptance.
For what is, right? Because at the end of it, there's every one of us is. I mean, I'm not saying that it's just about accepting everyone for who they are, but in a way I am. Like, it's at the end of it, right? We're all, the common bond that we all share is that we're all living, breathing human beings on this. And so who am I, exactly, who am I to sit there and have any judgment about you at all? I have no idea what you've been through. I have no idea what you may have overcome. I don't know what you're going through right now. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's very complex, but I think that, I don't know, I think there's an opportunity here. I think we need to build something or create something. And if you're out there listening, hey, shoot me your damn ideas. But maybe we come up with a way to eliminate, how do we get more people to judge less? Maybe that's it, a good place to start.
I think it's a practice. For me, it begins with, again, awareness around judging and not judging for judging. Because I think people go at it in a force, that block. And I think we just have to, if we accept the fact that we're judging and look at what we're judging, and then kind of take it and accept it and then release it back. I think that process becomes more gracious each time. And then maybe over time, we judge less. Because I don't think it's a switch. I think I
agree. I think it's a process to get there. Definitely. It's not like something that
and it's a decision.
Right. To turn off or on. But judging in itself shows up in every aspect of our lives. We judge who we think is the right person for us, a partner in our life or a spouse. We immediately start making judgments about who they are. Oh, I remember being around a group of friends, and it would blow my mind how many times, people would make statements like, oh, I only date this type of a guy, or I'm not interested in it. And for me, I'm like, you haven't even met the damn person. I mean, what if someone came into your life that met every single quality that you said wouldn't make the right partner for you, but you had the most beautiful, explosive, amazing, powerful date, a dinner, eating sushi over, I don't know, a glass of Prosecco, and you're connecting in such a profound level with the person because you have looked past all of that bullshit, and you're seeing this person sitting in front of you who's so beautiful in so many ways, and you had already decided, just based on your judgment of who you thought, right, that you would you wouldn't even allow that person perhaps to enter into your life.
Okay. So where else do people judge? Dating?
Everywhere.
Relationships, your boss, other employees, the work that they do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is a huge, Lauren, we have to solve this problem. This is This is like code red we're talking about. We are at code red and we need to solve this problem. And
Okay, so it's I think it's about acceptance. And I think that a lot of times people think that's all woo-woo,
it
you know,
isn't.
and it's not. It's a choice. Definitely through my training, for sure. I've released judgment of outcomes, you know, deciding that I'm not going to attach and judge my outcomes. I think I show up with, I don't want to say less judgment because I can't say that, but I think I have more acceptance. And I think that maybe that's the pill. You know, I think that,
Or
I
maybe
think
it's
that,
just about giving someone a chance, right? Like, that's what I'm saying is because judgment can sometimes stop us right in our tracks, and then
Right.
it just and then everything gets
Block.
shut down, right?
It's a
Yeah, it's
block.
everything shuts down. It's like the wall drops in front of you. And I guess that would be my, I know we're kind of going over time a little bit right now, but my question to people out there is, how do you think that in your own day-to-day life that you can find it to judge someone, to judge things less?
How would it change? How would it change your energy, your attitude,
Oh my
if
gosh,
you could release the
judgment.
judgments throughout the day? So the first thing is to spend one day thinking about thinking about
What do you
your
judge, right?
judging.
What do I judge?
And then when you start to create that awareness, and you see how often it's not a
Right.
positive
What does
feeling.
it bring
It
up for
doesn't
you?
add
What
to
are the
you,
thoughts and emotions that
right?
come up for you when you are making those judgments?
And are you willing to let that go and decide that it carries no weight? Like, I think that's what
Or
it
what's
is,
the cost? What is it costing you to keep judging in
to
your
carry it.
overall health and wellness, or in your relationships, or in your, like you said, relationship with your boss, or in the career that you've chosen, or it doesn't, again, it covers like all areas. And so
My boss is an ass. I'm not saying that. And he doesn't know what he's doing.
that's judgment. And at half the time too, I think the power in what you just said too is, if you actually start to break it down and ask yourself, what evidence do I actually have that my boss is what you just described? And 9 times out of 10, if you really think about it on those terms, you'll find, oh my God, that's not, it's just something that I'm fucking judging someone on.
It's my trigger. What
Right.
is it that my boss is triggering in me? What is my boss representing? When somebody does something, when somebody says something, it gets a reaction out of us that creates the judgment. So look in the mirror.
I think this is a hot topic. I think if you're out there, actually, I noticed we had a lot of engagement tonight. I'm going to go check out the comments. People loved this topic and people were popping in. And I think we had Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for joining. We had Holly, I believe. I forget Holly's name. I think I might be wrong.
That big K word with all the letters at the end. She's a good regular. Love her.
We had numerous people that popped in and actually were Debbie Schneeweiss. Thank you, Debbie. I'm going to be seeing you in like a week. She's going to be here over Rosh Hashanah. So
at your house?
She's going to be here in Miami. So yeah, we're going to be hanging out. We're going to do.
You're going to be hanging out doing Rosh Hashanah with someone?
Well, it won't be maybe Rosh Hashanah, but we are going to see her, and she's going to be here in Miami over Rosh Hashanah. I mean, we can do whatever, but Debbie Schneeweiss, I know was in there commenting, so thank you. I think this is a really good topic because I think it's a good path, and maybe a good piece that I'm striving for. I can tell you, I am trying to do my best, and I will continue to do my best to judge myself less in order to judge other people less, and try to also see the whole person and try to give that person a chance, give myself the chance, but give that person a chance to be able to experience that, versus again, shutting something down because I've already made a judgment and I've already decided that, oh, it's this for myself, when it's just a bunch of, it's something that you're telling yourself that you have no idea if that's really the case or not until you actually have the experience. So I don't know, people judge less. I think this is great.
Start with awareness, look at your day, and actually maybe share this with a friend, and maybe it'll be a little positive contagious in a good way, and share that idea and see if you can encourage someone else to step into the awareness zone and acknowledge where they're judging, and
then calls. I'm telling you, people, you know what, I'm going to start a movement, and if you want to join the Judgment Patrol, you can go around and call people on their judgments and ask them empowering questions like, why is it that you believe or you're thinking that to be true about X person, or why is it that you think that? Yeah, what's coming up for you when you say that about whatever? It could be whatever situation that you're making the judgment. And thanks for playing, Lauren, as we normally do on our K&L effect.
Great topic, Kev.
So from next week,
2 Steps Forward Coaching.
And from Lauren Weinreb from LBW Coaching. So again, if you're out there and you recognize that this is an area that you're like, wow, I'm really interested, let's have a conversation. It's as simple as that. Just reach out. There's no harm, no foul. It's all beautiful. When you have conversations, sometimes the most powerful, beautiful things can happen. If you don't judge, just let it flow.
Release.
Exactly.
Release.
So we will see you next week. I think we're going to decide next week. Let us know if you guys prefer 7 p.m. If you see this on the replay and you want to add your comments, is 7 p.m. a better time Eastern, or would 12 p.m. Eastern be a better time? We would love to hear from you. And we will be back next week with the dynamic duo.
K&L effect. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye.